Political ideology, or just ideology, similar to religion, is a form of human cosmology and view of human agency within time and space. Both ideology and religion are an outgrowth of the human mental capacity to take in sensory data and recompile that data into comprehensible systems and beliefs to then help move through, create, and even destroy the outside world. This is, of course, a very simplified explanation for the fancy concept of Mazeway synthesis. Unlike religion, ideology is concerned with the movement of human agency within history. It doesn't rely on revealed truths by supernatural forces, but on narrative truths by naturalistic forces. Religion then relies on metaphysical agencies to move humans, while ideology relies on these narratives as created by humans themselves to then organize and motivate human agencies to change or defend the natural world. This doesn't mean that ideology and religion don't mix, they often do, but by establishing them as separate things, we're showing and examining how they seek to achieve and find different ends. So we can say that ideology and religion are cosmogenetic, born through cosmological construction, wherein your place and time are explained and evaluated by entire worlds as created by you and or others. But we will say religion is omniagentic in that it relies on omnipresent agencies by supernatural forces to guide human action, and recurrentism, the practice of humans engaging in ritual acts to appease, communicate, or simply just acknowledge those supernatural forces. And ideology is uniagentic in that it relies on the unilateral movement of humans in the natural world, and progressivism, the linearization of that unilateral movement through time. We will attempt to put both highly contentious phenomena into a single sentence format, which will accompany three concepts within, such as a mode of Mazeway, a form of analysis and construction of sensory data, mythic landscape, mental geography of the mind that reconstructs the outer world internally into a generalized mapping of reality, and resynthesized, a recombination of sensory data to improve, destroy, and or create new mental geographies. So our definitions for both are: religion is a mode of Mazeway whose mythic landscape is resynthesized through a cosmogenetic form of omniagentic recurrentism. Ideology is a mode of Mazeway whose mythic landscape is resynthesized through a cosmogenetic form of uniagentic progressivism. Since this video is about ideology, we will be putting religion to the side and moving forward with explaining a few more key concepts that go into ideology and our explanation of it. Specifically, reconnection forwards, the Manichean sense, Topian conditions, ideological morphology, and ideological taxonomy. Reconnection forwards refers back to our usage of progressivism and our definition of ideology, in that all political ideologies are looking backward and forward to move time, taking what it sees as important elements from the past and creative elements in the present to make changes for the future. This provides ideology with one face looking back and another looking forward to position its movement across time, making the vision of ideology Janus-headed. From the point of view of each ideology, it strives for the real progression of human history and views competing ideologies as regressive and straying from its charted path toward what it views as the only actual means to attain prosperity. Manichean sense refers to the way in which ideology formulates both its conception of degeneration and sacredness. Degeneration here merely means those values, persons, ideas, etc. that the ideology considers not to only hinder but to directly damage and reduce those values, persons, ideas, etc. that it considers sacred. Sacred here having a more secular connotation, as it refers to those things which exhibit elements or ideals considered not only important, but as pivotal for building and sustaining prosperous and healthy human existence. This means each ideology will view degenerate forces as both an existential and anthropological threat. Topian conditions refer to the states of temporal trajectory as constructed by ideologies. Topia simply means place. Here we will refer to topia as the current existence of the world, dystopia as the worst conditions of the world, and utopia as the best conditions of the world. Each ideology will, as mentioned before, explain your placement in present time, topia, and how to improve it towards an ideal place, utopia, and how to avoid and even attack those attempting to stray things towards a defective and nightmarish place, dystopia. A given ideology not only charts out a view of present history and a desired conclusion to its hardships and struggles, but also competes against other ideologies as it views their charted paths as dystopian. Ideological morphology is simply the outgrowth or realm of development and change, where accidental elements are added from the core, the essential elements of an ideology, when it is attempted by people to manifest it in the real world as they are faced with various unique conditions. So when being defined specific ideologies within videos, it's with a focus on the core and an attempt to separate it from those other elements deemed accidental, which may be seen as definitional by others. The search for crafting an ideal type for social phenomena is an ever complicated endeavor. However, hopefully with a good enough definition, we can catch all the variations of any given ideology by being able to recognize both its ability to differentiate itself as well as still retain the core features. Ideological taxonomy refers to the classification of ideological phenomena. For being what are called fixed-centered ideologies, liberalism, conservatism, socialism, and fascism are considered genus. What are called thin-centered ideologies, nationalism, ecologism, feminism, and populism, are considered families. Genus, or thick-centered ideologies, refer to those ideologies that are far more complete, deemed host ideologies, which have a more comprehensive core that is specific enough to sit exclusively on either one side or the other of the political spectrum. While family, or thin-centered ideologies, refers to those ideologies that are far broader, as their cores are much less specific, and thus require the more complete host ideologies to function. This means that any one ideological family can manifest on any side of the political spectrum, as they can mix with any number of ways with the ideological genera. Subgenera will refer to central or primary directions that split the morphology of a genus as it manifests itself. Ideological species will be a given permutation of ideology that sits within one of the two subgenera within the larger genera of the whole ideology. This has been Professor Being. Thanks for watching, and become a benefactor by giving to the Patreon and providing endless feed for our chicken overlord Steve.